Okay, so here are some unit conversions. Um, this is important information when you're trying to convert to common units, which you'll need to do when working with representative fractions. For example, if you have like 1 inch to 5 miles, you'll need to convert everything into the same units, either all into inches or miles. Usually we would be going into inches because you want that 1 inch on the map to represent inches on the ground. Okay, another quick tip. It's really good to understand these conversions to be able to calculate them yourselves, which you're going to get some practice with. But you could always Google different conversions, and most of the time there's really great calculators available online where you could put in your 1 unit of measurement to your 2nd unit of measurements, and it'll calculate it for you really quickly. Okay. So finding map scale, again, we want to make sure that we've converted our representative fraction into common units. So in this example, again, we have 1 inch to 5 miles. So 1 inch on the map equals 5 miles on the ground. So we want our representative fraction to represent that. And again, it doesn't really matter which units, but usually we'll do it to the map distance just to keep things consistent. So that'll usually be inches or centimeters. And if needed, we'll need to simplify that numerator to 1. In this case, we won't need to do that. So if we know that our representative fraction, our map to ground, is 1 inch to 5 miles, we'll then want to convert it all into inches. So if we know that 1 mile equals 5,280 feet and 1 foot equals 12 inches, we have our numerators all at 1. And so then we just do simple multiplication of fractions. So 5 times 5,280 is 26,400 times 12 equals 316,800. So if we were thinking about this in inches, which is what we've converted it to, 1 inch on the map is going to equal 316,800 inches on the ground. Okay, so let's go over some examples. In this example, we want to figure out what the map scale is. And so again, that representative fraction here, we have map to ground, which is going to be our scale. And so we're going to plug in the pieces that we know. So here we have the ground distance between 2 features is 1,600 meters and the map distance is 8 centimeters. So we're plugging that in. So here is our map distance, 8 centimeters, to our 1,600 meters, and we are going to be solving for x to find that map scale or representative fraction. So we want to make sure that we're converting those units. So we're converting meters to centimeters here. And so once we've done that, we have 8 centimeters to 160,000 centimeters. And then we're solving for x. And so, so again, we want to simplify by making sure that our numerators are converted to 1 or simplified to 1. So we have that 8 over 8 fraction. 8 divided by 8 is 1. And then we'll cross divide. So we're crossing these two out. And we get that numerator of 1, and then we divide these two, 160,000 by 8, and we're getting that 20,000 number here. So now we know that our map scale is 1 to 20,000 units. Okay, so in this example, we're going to be solving for ground distance. So the distance between 2 features on a map that has a scale of 1 to 10,000 is 5 centimeters. So we're going to have our formula here. map to ground, and then we have our scale ratio or our representative fraction. And so we're going to plug in the pieces we know. We know that our scale is 1 to 10,000, and we know that our map distance is 5 centimeters, and then we want to solve for x. We're looking for that ground distance here. Okay. And so we then need to cross multiply to isolate x. So you'll do 1 times x and 5 times 10,000. So that is going to give us x equals 50,000 centimeters. And we'll need to convert those units to meters. And again, we'll take that simple conversion, 1 meter over 100 centimeters, and again you solve for that. So 50,000, you would take 50,000 and divide it by 100, and that is going to give you your 500 meters for your ground distance. Okay, so let's look at this example. Here we are solving for map distance this time. So if we know that the map scale is 1 to 25,000 and our ground distance is 1 kilometer, we want to know the map distance here. So we're solving for x here. This is how you would write it. We plug in the pieces that we know. Here's our scale, and here is our representative fraction that we want to know. And so again, we have that ground distance of 1 kilometer, and we're looking for that map distance here. And so we want to convert our kilometers to centimeters. So we obviously can't measure a kilometer on the map itself. We need to convert it to a smaller unit. And so we're doing that. There's 100,000 centimeters in 1 kilometer. And so we're solving for that. And so, so we want to isolate x in this scenario. And so once we do that, we get 100,000 centimeters over 25,000. And then we're going to simplify that by dividing it. And 100,000 divided by 25,000 is 4. So we now know that 4 centimeters on the map is going to equal 1 kilometer on the ground. Okay, so in this example, we are converting a verbal scale into a representative fraction scale. So here we have 1 inch equals a quarter mile on the map. And so we want to convert that into representative fraction or ratio. So we're going to plug in the pieces that we know. So here we have our basic formula, 1x equals map to ground. And so we know that 1 inch on the map equals a quarter mile or 0.25 miles on the ground. And so we want to convert our units. So we know 1 mile is 63,360 inches. And so therefore, a quarter mile is going to be 15,840 inches. And so once we have that number, we can multiply and cancel the units and then simplify, and that gives us our representative fraction of 1 unit on the map equals 15,840 units on the ground. Okay, so for this example, we're solving to figure out the scale of a photo while using the scale on a known scale on a map that is the same size as the aerial photo. So again, on a map, scale is written 1 centimeter to 750 meters. The distance between point A and B is 5 centimeters on a map and 10 centimeters on the air photo of the same area, and we are trying to figure out the scale of the air photo. So we're going to plug in the pieces that we know here. We have our scale formula. So we know that our scale, well, I see here that this has changed to 700, so we'll just pretend that this was 700 meters. So anyways, for the map, the scale is 1 centimeter to 700 meters. And then we know that the distance between A and B on the map is 5 centimeters. So we're solving for X here. We're converting those centimeters or those meters to centimeters. And then we want to cross multiply to isolate X. And so we know that now X equals 350,000 centimeters. So now we want to calculate that photo distance to distance on the ground. And so we're going to plug in the photo values. So we have 10 centimeters for that same distance instead of 5 centimeters. And then we have our new ground distance of 350,000 centimeters. And then we are going to simplify and break that down. So, and create that numerator as 1. And so to do that, you cross divide here, 10 and 10 divided is 1. You get your numerator, and 350,000 divided by 10 is 35,000. So that scale on the air photo is now 1 to 35,000 units.